our final episode of the podcast. Um, so starting off, my favorite quote from page 271 says, "I lingered round them under that benign sky, watched the moths fluttering among the heath and harebells, listened to the soft wind breathing through the grass." So through all the revenge and repetition, and uh, not including this in my other quote, but just the constant bad setting and where the characters are. The quote finally shows peaceful time through all the events that occurred. Uh, using nature, it uses nature to reflect um like the book and having a good
Hmm.
time. So they use that as a
Mm,
tactic.
I agree. I think
I
that's a good,
agree.
very good quote to show that. I think.
Great quote. My favorite quote is I have to remind myself to breathe and almost to remind my heart to beat. And this is Heathcliff basically saying like he basically doesn't want to live anymore. He has to like he's saying he has to remind himself to breathe because he just wants to die. It's like him realizing like
Mm.
all the revenge he got really didn't do him anything, and he's still not happy.
It's a very ironic ending for him.
From my quote, back to kind of representing like what Pedro just said. The quote, "I have lost the faculty of enjoying the destruction, and I am too idle to destroy for nothing." Basically, like he has like I guess like hurt other people so much that he just doesn't get anything out of it anymore. Like he'd rather just
Mm.
do nothing about it. He doesn't feel anything. That's how much he's already destroyed, even in himself. I think.
Yeah. Going into my favorite quote of basically the entire book now, or actually no, just of the third part. It would be, "Don't leave me. I will not stay here. I'll not stay here." And this was on page 209. This is when Linton, the kid, is pleading to Nellie that he doesn't want to be left at Wuthering Heights with Heathcliff and Joseph and all of them, because he just knows that place is no good. And he's already terrified of Heathcliff, his own father. And his own father doesn't even care about him. So he's just like pleading to not go with Heathcliff, who turned into such a villain, which is a pretty sad thing to see in the story.
Yeah, I think if who's the one? Who's the no Dr. Heathcliff? Lockwood? No, was it Lockwood or no?
What happened?
The whole Dr. Heathcliff, Mr. Litton.
Mr. Earnshaw?
Mercer
Oh, Mr.
Earnshaw?
Earnshaw. Okay, I'm sorry. But I think if Mr. Earnshaw was like a better father figure, Heathcliff
Yeah.
wouldn't have turned out the way he did. He would have been.
Uh,
It wasn't really him. It was
I
Henley.
think it was just Henley's fault
Yeah. Hindley, that
for how
boy
he
made him a
Or do you
treated
think?
him.
Or do you
servant.
think? Or do you think it was his family more, like the sister and the brother? Because they both kind of treated him bad, like earlier youth, like in the earlier days. Like
Sorry,
the first,
Nah, I think it was Henley.
you're talking about Heathcliff
Just,
still?
yeah, like Heathcliff, like in the very beginning.
Nah, because his quote unquote sister was Kathy, and they ended up loving each other.
yeah, they got along eventually.
Yeah,
And but
it
Henley
was
still hated him
Henley
Oh,
despised his guts. So.
dang.
for no reason.
Is that everyone's quotes?
Yeah.
Yes,
So for the question I have, taking into consideration how the past characters impacted like the present characters, how does Catherine Linton's character development explore conflicts of social expectations?
Mm.
Um,
mm,
my
Well, I think because of like her, I guess, social expectations, that's why she married Edgar, kind of, to be like higher up instead of marrying Heathcliff because he
it
didn't have anything at the time.
You're talking about Catherine, the one that married Edgar, right? That one.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, uh,
yeah,
Catherine
y-
Linton.
yeah. I would say that too. It really just shows how much class
Like
mattered
how
and what
important it was to them.
it really sets the expectations.
No,
Um.
Catherine Linton, daughter.
Oh.
Are you talking about the daughter?
Catherine Earnshaw, guy who is the lady who married Edgar.
Oh.
Uh,
Mm,
But to be honest, it's the same thing. I feel
yeah.
like they're in the same situation.
yeah, I can see that.
My big question is, who do you think had the best ending at the end of the book? I think it was Heathcliff because he realized revenge wasn't doing anything for him, and then he died and got what he wanted was that to be with Catherine because she was dead too. So they ended up together.
Mm. In a way, I would also probably agree Heathcliff. I mean, in the end, he just wanted to be with Catherine again, and he wanted death eventually too. So really, he kind of, yeah, as depressing as that sounds, he basically got what he wanted. So really,
Yeah.
he's kind of the happiest one there. Um,
Miguel, let's move on to Paulo.
um, my question for you guys is just, how do you just? It's honestly, it's just a simple one. How do you feel about Harrington? Because uh, towards the end of the book, he's kind of basically he didn't really get a lot of love as a kid. He grew up kind of raunchy, cursed a lot, but that's
Hmm.
really just because his caregivers were like horrible people. They didn't teach him right.
Yeah.
They didn't teach him how to read or anything. It's just like, do you think he's a bad person? Or he's just like misguided.
I think
Very
he was just
misguided.
misguided.
But then again, I feel like also like you can't use like your past trauma or like whatever, things you went on in the previous, time affect how you act now. And it's kind of like ironic because, that I think that's Heathcliff's whole motivation after the way his brother treats him, like taking away like the most basic human rights. He decides to take revenge.
Mm.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So for my second quote, page 349, have I have nearly attained my heaven, and that of others is altogether unvalued and uncoveted by me. Um, the pursuit Heathcliff has for revenge and desire to ruin happiness is is like his main quest throughout the book. I feel like uh he only has one goal, and
Yeah.
I just feel like he's hasn't become what he wanted to be. I guess
Yeah.
just because of what he's been through and people who he's around.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the literary criticism article we chose is called "Revenge and Wuthering Heights" by Thomas Barkish. It was on JSTOR, and the quote we got from it is, "Perhaps the truth is that Heathcliff's actions and much of his rhetoric are debased because he has himself become unworthy." And I think basically what it's saying is that like his actions are no longer justified because he kind of got out of control. It doesn't matter like
Yeah.
what they did to him in his past when he was younger.
I also believe that's what it means, because there's a certain line that Heathcliff kind of crossed as the book progressed, to where you're rooting for him at the beginning, but as the book goes on, you kind of realize he's kind of doing a little bit too much now, and he's just all around turning into not so much of a good person.
Right.
Um,
Um, and I guess I'll go on to my other quote,
mhm.
and it's about my topic, which is love and passion. I have we had such We had sad work with little Kathy that day. She rose in high glee, eager to join her cousin in such passionate tears, and lamentations followed the news of his departure, that Edgar himself was obliged to soothe her. This was whenever Linton had to go live with Heathcliff and everything. And although this isn't like a love that's, well, eventually it does turn into that love. But right here, she was just, but whenever Linton was with her, she was kind of happy to have someone her age, even if she was a little bit disappointed in him. But it just kind of shows that whenever you have that someone taken away, you can feel a little bit down, and it just kind of shows the love in the story.
Mm.
We go. Alright, let's moving on to my big question paragraph for the end of the book. Um, Connecting the revenge and repetition. How does the themes how does the theme of revenge manifest through repetition in the final chapters?
Hmm, I guess,
Um,
well, revenge was always repeated a lot in this story, way all throughout the end. And I guess what I guess what we would say is that I guess revenge just really isn't everything. That's how I would put it, because there was
yeah,
so
because
many moments where it seemed like this is the end game, like this is where everything's gonna come out. Like revenge is the top priority, but at the end, it's like it was all
they
kind
were
of
never
nothing.
satisfied.
It's not enough. It's never enough. So revenge just turns
Hmm.
into this constant thing of you think you need it, but it's never enough in the end.
Yeah, it's not doing anything for you.
Right.
Uh, that's it.
Oh well, I have one more.
Oh,
It's one more big question, and it's just: do you guys really think that love is a true theme in this story? Like, do you guys consider this a love story, or what do you consider it?
um,
I don't know what kind of story, but I don't think it's a
yeah.
love.
I don't think it's a love
I feel
story.
like there's so many themes that are happening, like that
I
should
think it might be like one of
mention.
the themes, but it's not like one of the big
Yeah,
ones.
I wouldn't say
It's
it's
not
a
like an
direct love
overpowering
story.
theme where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a love story.
Yeah, I'd say it's very maybe it's an abusive story with a lot of types of love thrown into it. I don't know, but
It's
I
like
wouldn't
fake
consider it
love.
a love story. Yeah, but that's a wrap. No more Minute Men. We're out of here. Goodbye.